culture that, for better or for worse, he oversaw. This is
yeah, I know. Like a lot of the team that was good being gone is because he had this philosophy of like Blizzard games and Activision games. There are a lot of like obsession games for people. So he was like, people are going to grow up wanting to be developers or writers or game designers or level designers or whatever, so that they can work on these games. So we'll just pay them trash and massively overwork them, and we'll just always have employees because everyone loves our games. And that was actually a thing that they actually did.
That's such a quiet out loud moment.
Yeah, like just oh man, there's like, tons of reports of people working at Blizzard and then working at other game development studios in the same area making similar games and being like, wow, this is a wildly different experience. I get paid way more, I work way less, there's a bigger focus on quality,
like this is a whole thing. Like I was blown away when I discovered what the margins are like in the model plane industry. Like to run a hobby shop. I was just this was back when I was working at NCIX, and I picked up some transmitter and like an inexpensive plane because I was like, oh, this seems pretty cool. And I just like I wanted to try it, right? And I was chatting with them because I'm curious. I'm a curious person, and I walked into their store, and kind of like with Keith's tech shop, there was a lot of, dead stock, a lot of like there were obvious challenges that I was looking at in this hobby shop. It was in like Coquitlam or something. It was just like a random like mom and pop style shop.
Yeah.
And
I've always noticed those types of shops have an insane amount of dead stock.
Yeah, and I was like chatting with the guy about it, and as someone who has worked in retail, I have a pretty good understanding of that. Just because something is $600 doesn't necessarily mean that you are being ripped off. It could mean that the shopkeep got ripped off at some point.
Yeah.
Anyone could be doing the ripping off, or in fact, there could be no ripping off being done, and it's actually just a really expensive product to develop. You can't make any assumptions. And so I was just chatting about it, and I was blown away by how little margin there was in it. And the guy's basically like, yeah, well, the problem is that this is an industry where the only way to survive is not if you're a more successful businessman than your neighbor, but if you are more passionate and more willing to do it for nothing out of the sheer joy of it, because someone else will. And I was just like, but it's almost like it as far as I can tell. Now, there's a lot of problems since then. That was a long time ago. And since then, there's been a massive amount of consolidation in that industry. Like, as far as I can tell, between Horizon Hobby, hold on. I don't want to say the wrong companies, but Model Erica, okay, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I think it's Horizon. Here, who owns E-Flight? It's been a long time. Yeah, Horizon Hobby is one of the big ones for sure. Between Horizon Hobby and I think there's like one other one or something like that, they've basically consolidated absolutely everyone. They own absolutely everything, and they have all the power. Hobby Lobby. People are saying Hobby Lobby is the other big one.
Don't they also like...